This is going to be a great day. We got our hands on the brand new Panasonic L10. So this is the brand new Panasonic L10, and it's a really exciting camera in a whole bunch of different ways. I mean, Panasonic had a really good lineup with their previous LX100 and LX100 Mark II. They were two fantastic point-and-shoot style cameras for the enthusiast. Bigger sensors, a great quality lens. This is a new iteration of that, slightly bigger, but it's got some pretty cool features to it. First, let's talk about what this camera is all about and who's it for before we dive into some of the feature set of this camera. There's been a big trend recently where we've had higher quality point-and-shoot style cameras that deliver exceptional results for their size and price point. Now, if you're into photography and you've already got your big system already, we don't always want to carry that around. We want something that's sort of much smaller, more pocketable, that we can easily carry around, but it's going to deliver image quality that we can certainly live with, even though it might not compare to your higher quality full frame cameras or especially your medium format stuff. But point-and-shoot cameras on the entry level just don't deliver the kind of results that we want, and we're a little bit too picky for that. We find we want a little bit higher quality. That's why we're seeing the market things like the Fuji X100VI. It's an incredibly popular camera, and it's a fantastic camera in its own right with a fixed 35mm lens. And also we have cameras like the Ricoh GR4, which is a really tiny, super compact camera that is truly pocketable, but it has limitations. Both those cameras don't have a zoom to it. That's why this camera is so exciting on the market right now, because it does have a micro Four Thirds sensor, so it certainly competes with those other two cameras when it comes to sensor size. There's not a huge difference between micro Four Thirds and APS-C size sensors when it comes to image quality, but oftentimes those cameras have a fixed lens and you're sort of stuck with that. It's not a bad thing. I mean, I really like the Fuji X100VI with a fixed 35mm. It's my favorite focal length. But if I'm to travel around a lot, maybe I want a little bit of variety, but I don't want to carry extra lenses or invest in a system. This camera here, the L10, features a 24-75 1.7 to 2.8 lens, giving us flexibility when we're walking around. This is a great camera to walk around with and explore a neighborhood with, and we've come to Inglewood, which is a great neighborhood, one of my favorite neighborhoods here in Calgary. It's an older neighborhood with some really cool architecture, some older houses with some questionable lawn decorations from time to time, but it also is home to one of my favorite pizza places, Inglewood Pizza. You should check them out. Fantastic quality, but it's great just to walk around and explore, and I love it with this camera because I'm not having that big SLR style or DSLR or mirrorless kind of experience. I have a smaller camera that delivers very good image quality in a much smaller package. Now, when we take a look at the camera itself, I mean, with the battery in it, it's only about 500 grams or just a little over a pound. And it has some really nice features like an included viewfinder that's embedded into the camera itself with an articulating screen. It's a really flexible camera to work with. They've given us a nice little grip on the side here. I'm easily holding on to it. It does come with a very cool strap as well. One of the coolest straps I've seen from a camera manufacturer right out of the box. The controls with Panasonic, as always, they're not the sexiest looking cameras. It is a very classy looking camera, but everything is really well labeled. Everything has a purpose, everything has a diagram, everything has something written on it. So I can easily look at that button and know what it does without having to get too confused with all kinds of custom function buttons. Now, what I do like about this camera and its predecessor, the LX100 series of cameras, is that really nice balance of automatic controls and some tactile controls. I love the fact we still have an actual manual aperture ring on the lens here. So I can quickly dial it in from automatic and go to 1.7, all the way up to f16 on this lens manually if I want to override that. And above that, I do have the 1:2:3 switch here, which is my different aspect ratio, so I can very quickly change from 1:1, 16:9, all these different formats very quickly and very conveniently. And I do have a manual focus, autofocus switch on the side here, all really tactile, kind of cool controls. On the top of the camera, we do have our PSAM dial here, of course, a couple different custom modes here. In fact, there's 5 different custom modes here you can set up. And part of the reason for that, we'll get into in a minute here, but all the different color profiles and LUTs that you could put into this camera. On the side of the camera here, we do have a couple different ports, USB-C, of course, and we do have a microphone port. Now, we don't have a headphone jack, which is a bit of an omission, I think, on this, but there's ways around that I'll talk about in a little bit when we get into the video section here. Now, when you turn your attention to the bottom of the camera, this is where the battery goes into. Now, I'm happy to report Panasonic did not skimp at all. They've given us a giant BLK22 battery. They use this in their larger cameras as well, but it's a very big battery for a point-and-shoot style of camera. You can have 450 shots, but I can guarantee you're going to get a lot more out of it than that. Something else in the bottom of the camera is that's where the SD card goes. So it's an interesting choice because if I'm going to put my tripod plate on here, I'm going to block that door off so I don't have access to that. Now, I do like the fit and finish of this camera. It does feel like very much a premium camera. It's not super bulky and heavy though. There are other cameras on the market that certainly, like that X100, has a little more heft to it, I find. It feels like a little more premium quality, but there's a balancing act between weight and fit and finish. And I think Panasonic has a really good balance of what they've done with this camera. There is a nice texture on this camera as well, so when I am hanging on to it, I don't worry about it slipping out of my fingers at all. Now, Panasonic has got a lot going on the inside of this camera. I mean, it does feature a 20 megapixel micro four thirds sensor, but wrapped around that, we do have the same processor found in their full frame S1R2, which is a very powerful processor, giving us all the latest autofocus algorithms and processing power, making this a very powerful video camera as well as a still camera. Now, when it comes to the autofocus of this camera, it does perform really well. I mean, what we're getting with that processor is the speed. We do have phase detect as well as contrast detect with Panasonic's DFD autofocusing program. And we have a ton of different algorithms to work with as well. We have planes, trains, automobiles, humans, all kinds of stuff. And I'm finding the autofocus is not an issue at all with this camera. Now, especially at 24 millimeters, the autofocus doesn't have to be quite as accurate. It can be a little easier, and it is acquiring focus quite quickly. At 75, I'm finding the exact same thing though. I'm no problem at all when it comes to the autofocus of this camera and how I'm using it. And I find myself, especially with the format of this camera, just using it in one hand, putting faith in the autofocus system, and I'm getting some great results. Now we've come to a really colorful wall here in Inglewood. This is a great place to showcase something that's very unique about this camera. I mean, a lot of cameras have different color profiles, and I can have vivid and what have you, but this goes even beyond that. It has a huge selection of color profiles, and here's sort of a sampling of what you can expect from that. They also have a dedicated LUT button on the back of the camera, and LUT stands for lookup tables, and these are custom color profiles that you can put into your camera. You can make your own, import them into your camera through the app. It's kind of a cool thing, and you can shoot stills and video under the same profile. It all leads to it being a very customizable camera when it comes to the color. Panasonic's well known in the video world, and they have a lot of options when it comes to making this work and getting this really kind of cool colors. I find myself personally using the Leica monochrome filter a lot with this camera. For some reason, that seems to resonate with me. But you can see kind of when I take a picture on several different profiles, what to expect when you're looking at a very colorful wall. Now, something unique about this lens, it does feature a leaf-like shutter. That means the shutter's inside the lens itself. It goes up to 1/2000th of a second, and that means you have sync speeds all the way up to 1/2000th of a second. It'll maintain that even at the smallest aperture lenses, which is kind of cool. Now, with the mechanical shutter only, we can do 11 frames per second. If you want faster frames per second, for whatever reason on a camera like this, it's not really my sports and action style of camera, you can go 30 frames per second if you go to fully electronic. Now, because it's Panasonic and it is running that very powerful processor from the S1R2, this is a video powerhouse in a small bundle as well. Now, I'm not going to go through all the different video specs on this because there's just a huge list, a laundry list of all different video capabilities of it, but it tops out at 5.6K at 60p, which is very impressive for a camera like this. I mean, we have the option to shoot all kinds of video with it, and the video quality is fantastic. If you look at some of the samples that we've been recording here, you can kind of see what to expect out of it. Now, it only has a microphone in jack, so no headphone jack, which is a bit disappointing, I'm finding. I would like to see that. I mean, they're able to, put a giant battery in. Thank you very much, Panasonic. But I'm sure they could have found room for a headphone jack. Now, if you're running wireless microphones, for instance, some of them have a headphone jack built into it. I'm always a big fan of listening through the camera what audio I'm recording. That way I know for sure there's no screw-ups. Now, I haven't talked too much about this lens. It is a 24 to 75 millimeter lens, which is great. It's that really nice focal range, a little bit wide angle, a little telephoto, nothing too extreme on either end. But the lens itself is very nice and sharp. And you can see from these wall samples I've taken here, at 24 mil, it's nice and sharp. Even if I stop it down, we don't gain that much with it. And I am getting some really nice starburst with that 9-bladed circular aperture. So I'm liking what I'm getting out of this camera, what this lens is capable of delivering. Now, it does have Leica on the lens, and this is because Panasonic and Leica have a very good working relationship together. They're able to create some really cool results, but Leica isn't making this lens, it's a Leica design lens. So what do I make of the L10 from Panasonic now that I've had a chance to play with it for quite a while? Well, I find I really like it, and I'm exploring the space with it and just snapping shots like crazy and really using those filters. I love the monochrome look on this camera. Now, the viewfinder is really quite nice. It's 2.36 million dots of resolution, and the rear screen, which articulates, I wish it articulated straight up from the bottom, not just the side hinge, but I can deal with that. And something else that's kind of unique is that it is a 43mm filter. That's not the unique part, but this camera does take a proper lens cap, which is something we don't see very often in cameras anymore. And I'm okay with that because often in point shoot style cameras, that mechanism that opens and closes is what's faulty. Overall, what do I make of the Panasonic L10 after I have spent some quality time with it? Well, my first impressions are I really like this camera. I can totally see myself wanting to carry this around. I do like the other cameras on the market in this kind of price range and this sort of aesthetic where it is that higher quality point shoot style of camera for an enthusiast. But with those cameras, if I'm stuck with a prime lens, there's nothing wrong with that if that's your shooting style, but having a little bit of variety makes a lot of sense. And that's where Panasonic's 24 to 75mm lens here really comes into play. Plus they got that right balance of tactile controls, plus a nice looking electronic viewfinder here. It is a really functional camera. Panasonic's always made really sort of functional cameras, right? They're not always the sexiest looking cameras, but they do have the controls where they need to be. But overall, the results I'm getting out of it, I really like. And the fact that they put all those different LUTs into it, the different film profiles into it, the Leica monochrome is gorgeous. I absolutely find myself addicted to that and have trouble shooting color because I like the black and white so much with it. I'm enjoying the experience I'm getting with this camera, but I'm enjoying the results I'm getting from it as well. The depth of field looks really nice. This lens is fantastic. So as far as this style of camera goes, I think Panasonic has got a hit on their hands. But I, of course, want to know what you guys think of this camera. Are you already an existing LX100 owner, and are you excited about the new upgrades of this brand new camera? Let me know in the comments below. Follow us both on Instagram, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's Dave from the Camera Store, and we'll catch you again soon.